Hello, welcome. I hope you guys are having a great day. I wanted to share something with you that I shared with my team when we got together a couple of weekends ago. Actually, it was last weekend. We made some pretty things with some brand new products which have only just come out. And yeah, I wanted to share this with you because I think it's a great little project that you can create as a gift idea or just for yourself. It's a nice way to store some little gift cards. It's perfect size for 3x3 gift card sized cards, and it's really fun to put together. So I'm going to give you the measurements when I upload this to YouTube. So I will be saving this Facebook Live to my Facebook page, but I will also be uploading it to YouTube, which will have a little bit more detail down the bottom of the video, including some clickable links to all the products that I've used. So if you've missed anything that I mentioned along the way, or if I forget to tell you as I am putting it together, it will all be underneath the video on my YouTube channel. You'll also need to subscribe to my YouTube channel on there so that you don't miss out on any of my other videos. I do standalone YouTube videos as well, and yeah, they're usually step-by-step comprehensive instructions for how to put projects together: cards, 3D items, scrapbook pages, all sorts of things you'll find on there going back a couple of years. So yeah, join me on there if you want to be in the loop. But let's get going with this project. I'm going to adjust my light so that you are able to see what I'm up to. I'm going to switch my camera around as well. Pop it in the cradle. And you will see that I'm using the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper for this project. This is my project, so I'll show you that in a second. But I have fallen in love with this paper. It is just beautiful. It is all different shades of blue, and you can mix and match it with other papers as well. It's got a plainer side and a more detailed side for each one. This one's got the rabbits and the flowers. It reminds me a lot of Delft pottery. It's got that lovely Wedgwood blue colour that sort of runs throughout, and there are all sorts of different designs. So some of them have got animals, some of them have got flowers, but it's a mixture of all those lovely blues. So yeah, I really love this whole collection, and in fact, let me just show you the double page spread in the catalogue. It's on page 62 and 63 of the annual catalogue, and you'll see there's a couple of items there that the Stampin' Up artists have created, and it's got a picture of the Countryside Corners bundle, which is the stamps and this fabulous set of dies, which we're not using today, but so handy for all sorts of projects. So these are nesting dies, and they also create word windows as well. The smaller ones are really handy to punch out a greeting or to die cut around a greeting. It will fit pretty much any greeting in our Stampin' Up catalogue as well, so very versatile. And as I said, the papers are just gorgeous. You will fall in love with them. The detail in these papers is beautiful. So what you're going to do is start off with a 6x6 piece of this paper. Now what we're making, let me just show you. So this is taken from a swap that I received from a fellow demonstrator, and I really loved the idea that it sort of forms its own clasp. So you've got a piece of cardstock that just slots in there where you've either punched or die cut a border, and inside, this was the original one, inside you can place a couple of gift cards and envelopes. These are 3x3 gift cards and the 3x3 envelopes, which are sold in our catalogue. Or you can just put a couple of cards, which is what I'm doing. I didn't have any of the envelopes, so I created my own cards, and they fit perfectly inside the little pocket, which I'm going to show you how to make in a second. And you can decorate it however you want on the outside. So the original artist, whose name I've forgotten, and I'm sorry, I'll try and find out and pop it underneath my video on YouTube, but she's just used the double oval punch and added a little flower. I'm going to do the same, except I'm using a brand new stamp set, and I'll show you that in a second. So this is what we're making. This is my version, the Countryside Inn version, and we've got some cards in here, and I'm just going to show you really quickly my cards. I've created a couple of different cards. I've got some stamping, I've got some punching out. Now you will recognize that this is a brand new punch. I'll show you where that comes from in a minute. But you can do all sorts of things with punch, right? You can create a window that opens out like that for a little note card. You can also pop whatever you've punched out the front inside another card just to add some detail. So I've actually directly punched this out from the front of this card just to show you how I did it, and I have adhered it to the inside of that card. So that's just one idea. A little bit of stamping, and these greetings are really gorgeous in this stamp set. So let me show you the stamp set and punch, which is actually a bundle, and it is called Heartfelt Hexagon. So yeah, you'll see that that is a hexagon shape, very useful shape. It will fit a number of different images and greetings. You can use it this way, which is obviously the way I've used it on some of my cards, or you can use it that way, depending on how you're wanting to incorporate it into your design. So I fell in love with the look of the punch before I saw the fabulous stamps that went with it as well. And this is where it's from. If you're on my newsletter list, you would have received your newsletter for this month, and the advertisement about World Card Making Day, which is coming up on the 7th of October. And with World Card Making Day, we are using a couple of bundles that we'll be using to create the projects on the day. Now, this World Card Making Day is open to demonstrators, customers, and anybody who would like to register. And you can register on the Stampin' Up website, stampinup.com.au. There is a link to the registration also in my newsletter. I'll be advertising a little bit more about that in the coming week as well. So you can get Heartfelt Hexagon now. It's actually coming in a new catalogue, which is just around the corner in January. And you can order it now. It's a pre-order if you like. So normally only demonstrators can pre-order, but you guys can pre-order as well. So it's called Heartfelt Hexagon Bundle, and it's 162889. And I can't remember how much it is. I think it's around $60, the $60 mark. I could be wrong for the bundle. You can punch that number into the online store and check it out and put it in your cart straight away if you like. But that's what I'll be using. So yeah, 162889 is the item code if you want to write that down. I'll have that link down the bottom of my YouTube video. So these cards, just like the ones in the original, fit inside this little slot here, and everything closes up nice and neatly. You don't need to put a ribbon around it. If you want to, you can though, but it actually holds together really, really well. And you can see I've also used the double oval punch. So let's make the pouch, the outside pouch first, and I'm going to give you some of these measurements as I go. I have my paper trimmer here, and I'm using the scoring blade. Now you will want to make sure that you've got your design going up and down so that when your project is together, your rabbits are the right way around. So we're going to score our two first lines in from the sides like this. And these are going to be 3.6 centimeters by 3.6 centimeters. So we're going to use our ruler at the top here and take it to 3.6. Make sure you are using your scoring tool and not your cutting tool. So 3.6 centimeters, flip it around, and you're going to do the same on the other side. 3.6 centimeters. My measurements are all in centimeters, even though we're starting off with a 6x6 piece. So basically you're going to fold these in, make those folds nice and crisp, and you'll have a little gap like that in the middle, but that's okay. So we are going to make sure that we're putting this the right way. So our next, our next lines that we're going to score come up from the bottom. So we are going to score, actually no, it comes from the top, beg your pardon. So I'm going to score at 8.4 and 9.3. So we're making sure that we've got our pattern like this, and just so you can see where we're going, let me just take these cards out. So we've got, this is the bit that we're working on, this bit here, which all folds in. So you want to be able to fold that up so that that bit's the shorter bit, okay? So we're going to start our measuring for our scoring at that top, that back bit from that line there, that cut line. All right, so the first line we're going to score is going to be at 8.4 centimetres. So I'm just going to take that to 8.4 and run my scoring tool up and down. Then the next one is a little ways along and it's at 9.3. So I'm going to take it to there, and that will just give us a little bit of a base, I guess, for our pouch. I'm going to call it a pouch. It's not really an envelope because it's more of a 3D pouch. And then, so basically what we're going to do is fold it in like that, and then we're going to pinch these two sides, and I'll show you how to make those creases that will create. I'll show you how to make them a little bit more pronounced as well. So that's ready to score. Sorry, that's ready to fold in. The only other thing we have to do, and it's on this edge, if you have a look at my original one here, if you can see that, we're actually going to put a scalloped edge on. Now, I don't have a scallop punch, but I do have scalloped dies, which are part of this bundle of dies here. It's called Scallop Contours dies, and we're going to use the large one. And here's how you can use your dies in a slightly different way if you are not if you don't have a punch that is going to make these scallops happen for you. You can actually do this through several layers. So I would fold the flaps in and under like that, and you're going to line up your scallops. And notice how I've got the blades over this bit, but there's no blades that are going to come in contact with this end of my of my pouch. So you actually want to only cut that top bit, which is the flap that is coming up the front of your project. And this is on the smallest side. So we've got a large side at the back and a small side at the front with our birds and our rabbits going the right way. So you want to make sure that you're cutting this edge and not this edge. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is fold that in like that, the two flaps, and then we're going to line this up. I'm going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which I've got here. And I'm just going to put the plate over this section here that's going to be cutting through. So I don't actually want to make any marks on any other part of my project. So I'm just going to be super careful. And you can see as I go through that it is only touching. So it's only, the plates are only over that bit that I'm cutting. They're not going to be over the whole thing. And you only need to do back and forward over that one section. Does that make sense? So when you get your pouch out, you have a perfect scallop edge, which will look fabulous on your little pouch when you bring it together. So just make sure you lose all of those little bits. So isn't that cool? That's just another way that you can use. Hi Anne, how you going? That's just another way that you can use your dies. You can use them like a scallop edge punch and isolate just that one bit that you're cutting and create something like this. All right, now that I've got my cutting done, we can bring this together. So this is where having a little base helps. Remember, we've done 2 score lines coming up from one end just to make that little section there, which is going to be the profile of our little pouch. So you can see it there. But how to pinch those edges in? We've already got our side flaps already scored. So what we're going to do is pinch the edges like that and bring it up. sort of squeeze it in and pleat it. And we want to actually bring each of these so that those two edges are meeting. They're perfectly lined up. And then inside here, we're going to make that fold nice and distinct. So you can use your fingers. If you've got your bone folder, you could use that and just kind of go in with the pointy end and just create that little fold. And same with the other side. So you're going to do this 4 times because there's actually 4 different pleats for the whole pouch, 2 on each side. And so I'm lining those 2 up, and inside, see my pleat? I'm going to make that nice and distinct. So you'll end up with a lovely neat, let me just show you, it's a lovely neat little edge on your box like that. Okay, so that means that we don't have to measure and score to do those pleats. We're just doing them by hand and by sight, so that it's going to perfectly line up with the original score lines that we've made. So the other side is the same exactly. I'm going to bring that in, meet up the edges like that, create my my triangle bit, my little pleat, and then use my bone folder or my finger. And again, you just want to make these meet exactly like that, and then go in and do that pleat inside there. And you've got 2 sides that are going to come together. Now, if you didn't stick anything down at all, this would kind of all come apart every time you opened it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece in here, and we're going to glue this section. So it's only this bit that's the moving bit, and that becomes the front of our pouch where we will tuck our little note cards. Okay, so that's the pouch done. Starting off with a 6x6, the measurements will be all down underneath on my YouTube video. So I'll try and remember to put a link to my YouTube video underneath this too, so you can cross-reference. I think I need to do that. All right, so that's the basics of the pouch. The next bit that we need to measure, we have a piece that is measuring 7 centimeters by 8 centimeters. So this is a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock, 7 centimeters by 8 centimeters, and we're going to do some score lines here as well. So from the same end, we are going to score. So we want to actually score it from that 8 centimeter end. So this is the 7 centimeters. This is the 8 centimeters, and we're going to line it up here. We're actually going to do our first score line at 3.7 centimeters. Make sure you're using your scoring attachment. So 3.7. The next one will be at 4.2. So you're creating 2 score lines. Then you've got one side of this. This is going to become the top flap, by the way, just in case you were wondering where it was going. You've got a long section, a wider section, and a narrower section. So make those fold lines nice and distinct. This will help this is like the little closing mechanism on your pouch. This will help it all come together. So the profile of it looks like that. There's your short end, there's your long end. And you're going to be gluing the short end inside the top of this flap here. Okay, so we actually want to line it up so that it comes to only that first score line there. So let me just show you the profile again. So when it's stuck down, we've got that profile there. So you can see the flat bit at the top, that becomes the lid. You can see it on my original. That's the straight bit. And so we're wanting to stick only the smaller section inside. We're going to just put a tiny bit of our Stampin' seal on the inside there, just to keep it secure. So try not to get any of the seal where the exposed bit is. You don't want your whole pouch to sort of stick together so that you can't get it apart. You only want it to be secured behind these 2 flaps here. Does that make sense? So then you've got your lid and you've got your closing mechanism, which slides into just where you have die cut that scallop bit. Just going to slide that bit in. Okay, and that is your pouch. When you've got things inside the pouch, it will in fact sort of bulk it out a little bit, and it will hold its shape a little bit better, but you get the general idea. So now we're going to go on to our cards, our little 3x3 cards. I'm just going to make sure these score lines are nice and distinct. We've got some of the stamps from the set here. So we've got some lovely fronds and a flower, some leaves and a flower. And I'm going to bring in some blues. I've got Misty Moonlight and I've got Boho Blue. So I'm just going to demonstrate one of the cards for you. I think I've shown you them already, but this is how I got that lovely little feature down the bottom. So I just inked up once and then I kept stamping without the re-inking just to give you that softer look. And I did that down the bottom right-hand corner of my little cards. I also wanted to create a little panel of designer series paper, and what I've done on my original ones is I've just stuck a panel, and it is about centimeters wide. It's about 2 centimeters wide. So you can cut these to size. It's 2 centimeters by 3 inches, basically, to cover that little side panel of each of the cards. I think that's a nice ratio because it's nice to have a little bit of white space. So I've gone ahead and I've stuck all of those down, and then I have stamped and punched out, with the hexagon punch. I've stamped the greetings. So some of the greetings I've done: sending you lots of love and thanks. I hope your day is filled with joy. That's that one, and that's sort of going lengthways, vertical. And then let's eat cake is also another one I've used. I've paired them with this. I've paired them with this surround as well, this edging. So you get 2 edging stamps. One is a little bit plain and the other one's a little bit more fancy, if you like. And the fancy one, let me just show you how that works. So I would stamp first. So I'm going to stamp this onto some Misty Moonlight. Now this is for the front bit of my pouch, where the label is. It's going to go on the front. And I'm going to come in with my punch and line it up. So stamp first, punch second, I think is the easier way to do it. And you'll see, the punch is perfectly designed to fit around that little shape. Beautiful. And then I've got some of our glimmer paper, our shimmer paper. Now, what is this called? This is the one that has all of the in colours in the pack. And there's a couple of different shimmer papers. So if you turn to the specialty papers in the annual catalogue, which are on page 127, you'll see they're called Soft Shimmer 12 by 12. So there's those ones which are in some of the new colours and also some older colours. We've got Night of Navy, Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, Lost Lagoon. But then we've also got some in colour 12 by 12 luster specialty paper, and that's what this is. So it's different to the soft shimmer. It's called luster specialty paper, and it's also 12 by 12, but it comes in all the in colours. So this is the boho blue one, and you get, how many do you get? 10 single-sided sheets, 2 of each colour. So you get quite a lot. We're only using a smidge of it. Because it's sparkly, you don't really need to use a lot of it to get a fabulous effect. And look, it's not going to even match with my punch. So what I'm going to do, so I've got a bit that's too small to punch out. I'm going to just stick these 2 together. I'm going to make my own shape. So if you're ever stuck like that, if you have cut your paper not quite the right size, you can cut 2 and then just stick them together like that. So that's what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this video. I know you guys will probably cut your paper and punch your paper out of maybe a whole sheet, or definitely a larger bit than that, but that just wasn't quite wide enough. So there you go. I've made 1 shape out of 2. Right, so that's going to layer on there. And then I've got another piece of basic white, and what I'm going to do is simply stamp the For You. So that also comes in our stamp set. We've got a really simple little greeting there, and I love how it's got a heart and an extra flower and some, you know, some beautiful filigree stamps, as well as an extra frond. So there's lots of really nice images to play with in this set too. So the For You, I'm going to stamp it in Misty Moonlight, straight down on our basic white, and then I'll come in with the plainer oval. And I will leave a little bit of room up the top because I'm definitely going to add a flower. So let's just get some dimensionals, and we'll pop those behind the For You. And that little flower is very cute. I definitely want to use that on the front. I think you saw that. But I just want to show you a fun little watercoloring technique where you don't need to use any extra ink for. Just put that together like that so that holds. So that's going to go on there. Yeah, I like the way, I do like the way the double oval layers with that hexagon. I think it works really well. All right, so I'm going to leave what colour will I leave open? This one. I'll leave the Misty Moonlight open. And I've got a little scrap of white here. This stamp is very small anyway, so I don't need a lot of white. I'm going to ink that up in the Misty Moonlight and just stamp it there like that. And what you're going to do, if you've got a nice dark colour to start with, you can grab your aqua painter. Just make sure the end is not too wet. And you can just come in or out. Doesn't really matter. Get rid of some of that water actually. The idea is that, that you want to push some of that colour from the middle out to the edges like that. I don't know if you can see, but that has actually made, that little flower look like a little watercolour flower, and it's given a little tinge of blue on the petals as well. So that's how I created my flower. And then I also just put a small self-adhesive rhinestone gem in the middle for a little bit of bling. And that also goes nicely with that luster specialty paper. It kind of adds another sparkly dimension to the project. All right, so we've got our pouch here, and we've got our closing mechanism done. We've got our 3 cards. I think it's perfect for 3 of these. You could add some extra bling and maybe even some ribbon to these if you wanted to dress them up even more. But what happens is they just go into the little pouch like that, and the pouch closes over like that, and you push that all the way in, and it stays shut, which is brilliant. I'm going to just add that to the front. It's our little label. You just want to make sure you don't get any adhesive on the flap so you can still open it. I might just put it a little bit further down, in fact, I think, like my last one. And yeah, and so your little flower would go on the side there in the corner. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make that. As I said, all of the measurements will be down the bottom, and when you go over to YouTube, you'll be able to see a list of the ingredients I've used as well. Let me just close this one up as well. So I hope you have a lot of fun making these. You can make these out of obviously any of the designer series papers that you'll find in the catalogue. We've got some brand new papers out now in our online exclusives as well. There's some Christmas ones, there's some ones that match some stamp sets, so go in and have a look at those. And remember, you only need a 6x6 designer series paper sheet in order to make these little pouches. So you'll have a lot of fun, I'm sure. Thank you so much for watching. Let me just switch you around. I hope you have a creative day wherever you are. I will be uploading this to my Facebook page as well, so if you missed the live, you can catch it later. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.